Joy, a single mother in her 30s, moves through another ordinary morning under the weight of a life that looks nothing like the one she once imagined. Mimi, her grandmother, senses the frustration sitting on her and tries to steady her, reminding Joy that a broken path does not mean hope is gone. As a child, Joy had been wildly creative, dreaming of inventions that powerful, important people would one day admire. While her mother Terry drifted through her own emotional fog, Mimi became the one who protected that spark, constantly assuring Joy that she was meant to become something. But years of responsibility, disappointment, and survival slowly buried the dream under real life. That buried part of Joy resurfaces when she finds one of her childhood inventions and shows it to Terry, frustrated that someone else has already patented the same idea. If Terry had helped her get a lawyer and protect it back then, Joy tells her, they might be swimming in money now. The thought barely has time to sting before Joy is pulled back into the present by stains on the carpet and the usual chore of cleaning up after her mother. Terry, half absorbed in her soap opera, casually admits she had been wondering where the smell was coming from before excitedly calling Joy over to watch the show. For one brief second, Joy gets dragged into Terry's little TV universe too. The doorbell snaps her out of it. Joy opens the door to Rudy, her father, freshly dumped by his latest girlfriend, Sharon, and now looking for a place to land. He suggests moving into the basement, but Joy reminds him that her ex-husband Tony is already living down there. Rudy immediately questions that bizarre arrangement and marches straight toward Terry's room, where old resentment catches fire within seconds. Terry demands to know what he ever saw in Sharon, but Rudy fires back, and the fight turns vicious enough for him to smash several ceramic pieces. Joy rushes in to stop the chaos, and Rudy, ashamed, apologizes and offers to clean it up. Wanting to avoid another explosion, Joy insists on doing it herself. As she leads him away, Christy and Tommy scold their grandfather for breaking the ceramics, but Rudy pushes the blame onto Terry, leaving Joy to remind everyone that Mimi will be taking the kids to a birthday party later. The basement is no calmer. Rudy finds Tony singing and immediately insults him. Tony fires right back, and the tension rises so quickly that Joy has to divide the room with toilet paper, like she's managing two hostile nations. By the time she finally heads out for work, she spots the railing she recently repaired already falling apart again. Outside, her half-sister Peggy arrives with her usual sharp tongue, criticizing Joy for sending Mimi to take the kids to the party and offering to do it herself. Mimi shuts her down before she can dig any deeper, warning Peggy not to tease Joy. But Peggy brushes it off and claims she only wants to talk business with Rudy. At the airport, Joy's day finds new ways to get worse. A rude customer lashes out at her, slapping and mocking her like Joy is somehow responsible for everything wrong with the world. Before she can even recover from that humiliation, her boss informs her she is being moved to night duty. Joy pleads with him, explaining that she has children and cannot work overnight, but the decision is already made. With no room to argue, she is shoved even further into the role life keeps forcing on her. Worker, mother, cleaner, fixer, everyone's emergency contact and nobody's priority. That burden follows her to Rudy's metal garage, where the sound of gunfire greets her before she even gets inside. A group of men casually shoot outside the business, because apparently nothing says respectable establishment like bullets flying in the parking lot. Joy thanks Rudy for helping with the mortgage and tells him she has handled his business matters, but she also admits things have been slow, gently suggesting that letting people fire guns outside might not be helping.
How is that still legal?
What can I do?
After all these years?
I mean, they keep to themselves. It's their property. The police leave them alone. Why, you think it's costing us business?
Rudy dismisses the concern, refusing to change a thing. Peggy arrives soon after, wasting no time taking shots at how she is practically running the place, until Rudy shushes both daughters and excitedly checks a dating courier for new matches. Basically, Tinder for widows and widowers. Peggy encourages him, insists Sharon was never right for him, and tells Joy she already bought him new clothes. Rudy calls one of his matches, a woman named Trudy, and the second her Italian accent hits his ears, he is sold. Within moments, he sets up a date, and Trudy casually offers to pick him up in her Mercedes. That night, as Rudy prepares to leave, Tony cannot resist mocking his outfit and cologne, but Rudy ignores him, determined not to break his gentleman mode, and heads out. Once Rudy is gone, Joy is pulled right back into the routine she can never escape. Terry makes excuses for another mess, and Joy reluctantly cleans it, only to accidentally create a massive hole in the room while trying to fix the issue. Now she has to call a plumber too. The night gets even heavier when she realizes Peggy has been speaking negatively about her to her own children. Exhausted, Joy collapses into bed, but even sleep turns against her. In a nightmare, her entire family turns on her, and the dream leads her to a church where people mourn her younger self, a brutal symbol of the dreams that died when her parents divorced 17 years earlier. Joy wakes to Terry shaking her, saying someone has been ringing the doorbell. Jackie, Joy's childhood friend, is waiting outside, and Joy finally lets some of the pressure spill out. She vents about her failing circumstances, the damage in Terry's room, and the endless responsibilities that keep landing on her shoulders.
What happened to us, Jackie? All the things that we used to dream about. I feel like they just keep getting farther and farther away.
As she wonders how her life turned into this mess, her mind drifts back to the night she met Tony. He was ambitious then, chasing the dream of becoming a world-class singer like Tom Jones, and he encouraged Joy to chase her own dream too, even convincing her to perform with him in a town musical. Their relationship quickly became a marriage despite Rudy's strong disapproval. Rudy predicted they would not last 2 years, and unfortunately for everyone involved, he was right. Marriage only pulled Joy deeper into disaster. On one side, her children cried endlessly. On the other, Tony sank into depression and drifted through life without holding anything together. Refusing to repeat the same miserable cycle her parents had lived through, Joy filed for an early divorce, determined to cut her losses before the damage became permanent. Elsewhere, Rudy charms Trudy enough for another date, this time on her luxurious yacht. She sets one simple rule: no red wine on the teakwood deck. Naturally, Tony shows up with red wine anyway. At first, the outing feels almost perfect. Everyone laughs, drinks, and enjoys the easy glow of the moment. But the peace breaks when the boat suddenly shakes, sending glasses crashing across the deck. While everyone else keeps floating through the celebration, the cleanup falls to Joy. Frustrated but determined, she grabs a mop and starts scrubbing. But when she wrings it out with force, hidden glass slices into her hands. As Rudy and Trudy clean her wounds at home, Joy sees the problem clearly. Mopping is exhausting, messy, and dangerous, especially when bare hands are forced into the filth. But if she could create a mop that cleans and wrings itself without anyone touching the dirty head, she would not just solve her own problem. She could help countless women trapped in the same thankless routine. The plumber, Toussaint, arrives to repair Terry's room, and Terry is instantly charmed by his Haitian accent. That night, Joy dreams again. Only this time, her younger self confronts her directly, accusing her of spending 17 years hiding from other people, and even worse, hiding from herself. The next morning, Joy wakes up with purpose instead of panic. She orders Tony and Rudy to move out of the basement, then tells Rudy to bring Trudy to his office so she can pitch her for an investment. Rudy immediately resists, arguing that his love story with Trudy has barely started. But Joy is done swallowing the cost of everyone else's choices. She reminds him that she stayed behind to help with his business, lost her college scholarship, and got stripped down to the role of housewife because of him. While Terry grows closer to Toussaint, Joy turns her idea into something real, moving from sketches to construction. With help from a welder at Rudy's metal garage, she builds the handle, then wraps pure cotton thread around it again and again to create maximum absorbency. Joy presents the miracle mop to Trudy, who listens carefully but keeps her guard up. Instead of saying yes right away, Trudy tests her with a strange question. If Joy were alone with a business rival and a gun, would she pick it up?
That's a very strange question.
There is nothing strange about this question at all. This is money. Do you pick up the gun?
I pick up the gun.
Good. I'm going to remember that you said that.
That answer is enough for Trudy, who agrees to invest but warns that her lawyer will be involved. Soon after, Joy tells Christy that a man in Hong Kong may have a similar idea, forcing her to gather the entire family to discuss the threat. Trudy explains that the man's representative seems reasonable, but even so, they need to pay royalties. Tony immediately senses danger. The same man tied to the patent issue is also their cheap supplier, and while Trudy sees that as efficient, Tony sees a trap hiding behind the discount. He warns Joy, but Rudy pushes her to accept Trudy's terms anyway. Once the parts arrive, Joy throws herself into production, training the Nigerian workers and getting the first mops assembled. Rudy is proud, but Trudy's eyes stay on the money. The first batch has already cost more than $15,000. That number gets worse when Gerhardt, the supposedly cheap manufacturer, sends another bill. Joy studies the charges and realizes he is making her pay for his own mistakes. She calls him and refuses to keep covering the cost of parts he failed to make correctly. His job was supposed to make production easier and cheaper, not turn her invention into a financial sinkhole.
It was not my design, Gerhardt. It was your mistake. I'm not paying it.
That was your design.
Did you just hang up on him?
This guy was supposed to be easy and inexpensive. He keeps overbilling us. I'm not paying for it. Nobody pay it. I'm gonna fight it out with this guy.
With the mops finally built, Joy tries to get them into stores, but retailers reject the product almost instantly. They do not understand the value, and one even tells her she would be better off selling the idea to a bigger company. Joy takes the advice and pitches the mop to a businessman, explaining that it costs $20 because it is built to last, but that is exactly why he refuses. He would rather customers keep buying $5 mops forever than sell them one product that actually solves the problem. So Joy takes the fight outside, advertising the mop right in front of a shopping mall. At first, people barely look at her, so she changes tactics. She has her friend demonstrate the mop while Joy pretends to be an impressed customer, and the fake curiosity starts turning into a real crowd.
It really does get all the corners that my sponge mop won't get.
I really like it. Can we buy it?
For a moment, the plan works, until the police show up, shut everything down, and seize every mop in sight. Joy breaks down in her car, only to return home to even more bad news. The house is falling apart. The phone has been cut off, and Christy is terrified they might lose everything. Joy promises they will not, then takes Christy to the bath because of a cough spreading around school. But Christy is more hurt by what the other kids said, calling Joy a cleaning lady who sells used mops. Joy gently corrects her. The mops are new, and there is no shame in hard work. That night, Mimi stops Joy before she can disappear downstairs, and when Joy admits the day was a disaster, Mimi refuses to let her quit.
You were born to be the unanxious presence in the room. And I know that I'm going to live to see you grow to be the successful matriarch that you were born to be.
Before Joy can fully absorb that, the doorbell rings. Tony arrives with a lifeline. Marv Brickman, an old co-worker with a connection to QVC. Watching Joy and Tony together, Mimi sees the truth clearly. They may have failed as husband and wife, but as allies, they still work. The next day, Joy and Tony drive to QVC. As they pass through Amish country, Joy wonders how she's supposed to sell a mop in a place without electricity. But Tony explains that QVC is only based there. The customers definitely still have light switches. At the company, Marv tries to stall them, but Neil Walker, the head of QVC, cuts through the delay and tells Joy to bring in the product. When the moment comes, Joy freezes, so Neil has another executive handle the mop first, hoping to make things easier. Instead, the men start joking around, and the pitch turns ugly fast. Neil apologizes for them, then explains that QVC is built on selling household products to real people, and he knows what moves. To Neil, Joy's mop looks strange, and Joy does not pretend to understand his charts or corporate language. What she does understand is the problem. She cleans her own home, and she built the mop because every other mop made the job harder.
I don't know anything about charts or business, frankly, but I do clean my own home. And I made this mop because it is better than anything else out there.
That honesty earns her one more chance. In a makeshift bathroom, Joy finally shows what the miracle mop can do. The plastic wringer keeps it light, the 300 feet of cotton make it absorbent, and the removable head can go straight into the washing machine instead of dragging bathroom filth back across a kitchen floor. Neil sees the potential and offers her a deal. Produce 50,000 units, and QVC will sell them on television. It is a terrifying risk, but Joy accepts. Later, Neil walks her through the studio, a 24-hour machine where every product has to perform live or die instantly. He introduces her to Todd, QVC's top seller, and asks him to pitch the mop. Joy admits that the product represents everything she has earned or borrowed, and Todd tells her she should not have said that because now he feels pressured. He then proceeds to lock himself up. Neil then shows Joy the stage, where presenters sell several products at once, and Joan, one of the hosts, looks Joy over before warning her that she will not survive in a man's world dressed like that. Neil explains that television selling is all about the hands. If viewers can imagine themselves holding the product, the phones light up. Joy watches Joan and Cindy go live, and the system suddenly makes sense. The pitch lands, calls flood in, and the sales numbers climb in real time. Neil then sends Joy home with one instruction: call her lawyer and make sure everything is in order. But the opportunity comes with a brutal price. Rudy warns her that Trudy cannot simply write a $200,000 check for 50,000 mops.
It's only fair that you share the financial risk, Joe.
How's she gonna do that? She's got nothing. She's got no money.
If Joy believes in the miracle mop, she has to risk her own money too. That means taking a second mortgage on the house. Tony tries to stop her, but Joy has already made her choice. With the pressure pressing down on her from every direction, Joy walks toward the men firing guns near Rudy's property, borrows one, and shoots into the distance. It solves nothing, but for a few seconds, the pressure leaves her body. Then the family gathers for the Miracle Mop's QVC debut, where everything Joy has risked is supposed to finally pay off. Todd starts strong, but the pitch collapses almost immediately. He mishandles the mop, fails to explain it properly, announces there are no sales, and moves on like Joy's entire future was just a bad segment. Rudy is furious. They made 50,000 mops. They borrowed $200,000. Joy quickly turns off the television, crushed by the scale of what just happened. Moments later, Neil calls to apologize and drop the product, but Joy refuses to accept that the mop failed.
I made 50,000 units because you told me to. I mortgaged my house. I'm in $200,000 of debt, more.
Neil reminds her that QVC is not responsible for her losses and that the contract may only cover part of the damage. But Joy hangs up with one truth locked in. If no one else can sell her invention, she will. She marches into Neil's office and demands another chance, this time with herself presenting the mop. Neil hesitates because she is not trained, polished, or built for television, but Joy is done being represented by people who do not understand what she created.
Who showed you the mop? Who sold it to you? Who taught you how to use it? And who convinced you that it was great after you thought it was worthless?
Excuse me, can you give us a second? Come with me.
At the studio, they style her like a presenter, but the version staring back at her feels fake, so Joy changes back into herself. But soon after, when the camera rolls, fear freezes her in place and she cannot speak. Then a call comes through. It is Jackie, pretending to be a customer, and that familiar voice gives Joy just enough ground to stand on. She starts speaking, not like a salesperson, but like a woman who has cleaned floors, raised children, and solved a problem no one else cared enough to fix. She explains how a boating accident inspired a mop that keeps hands out of dirty water, then spills ketchup and kitchen mess across the floor and wipes it clean with a simple rinse. The phones light up. Neil tells the camera crew to focus on her hands and the numbers keep climbing.
This woman's gonna be all in the business. No way.
By the end of the broadcast, Joy had sold 47,000 mops. Overwhelmed, she breaks down in the corner, terrified the counting machine might somehow stop. Neil hugs her and makes her promise that even if they ever become enemies in business, they will remain friends.
Let's promise each other that if one day, and that day may come, that we become adversaries in commerce, that we remain friends.
Friends in commerce. I agree. Let's shake on it.
That night, her family throws a party to celebrate, and Neil is introduced to Trudy and the rest of the household. When he asks about production, Joy explains that a manufacturer is making the mops at a lower cost. But Neil only cares about one thing. Can she stay on schedule? Joy says yes. Soon, orders climb past 95,000 units, and for the first time in years, Joy lets herself feel hopeful. Then, everything changes. A sickening phone call sends Joy home, where she finds Mimi dead on the bed, the one woman who believed in her before anyone else did. Joy breaks down, kissing her goodbye as Christy comes to her for a hug. At the burial, Joy sees Mimi sitting beside her for one brief moment, but when she looks again, the seat is empty. Before grief can even settle, Rudy brings another crisis to her doorstep. Gerhardt, the manufacturer, has suddenly raised the price per mop, and Joy knows even a small increase could bury the business. Rudy says he sent Drizella to handle it, which somehow makes the situation feel even worse. Back home, Drizella explains that she paid the $20,000 Gerhardt claimed Joy owed, and negotiated the increase down to only $2 per unit. Joy is stunned, because at the volume they need to produce, $2 is not a tiny adjustment. It is a financial sinkhole wearing a polite little hat. Drizella makes it worse by revealing she also spoke to Gerhardt about a product idea of her own.
Do you have any idea how much your idea will cost? How or where you'll sell it? If you can even manufacture it after it's taken everything we've got to sell this one product that now, thanks to you...
Maybe my product is better than your product. It's not that hard. Isn't that the whole purpose of that channel? It's that everybody could do it?
Joy immediately sees what is happening. Drizella is not trying to protect the company. She is circling it for personal gain. Joy orders her never to speak about her business again, then decides she is going to California herself. The next day, Joy drives to the factory and asks to see Gerhardt, but instead she is met by Gary, the plant foreman, who says Gerhardt is unavailable. Joy says she will wait, and that gets his attention fast. Gerhardt finally appears and explains that he reports to Derek Markham, a Texas businessman who owns Fabripack. Joy reminds him that her deal was with Gerhardt, not Derek, and she finds it very convenient that the price jumped the moment her mop became a television success. Gerhardt claims they are losing money, but Joy pushes back. They have already paid hundreds of thousands in royalties, plus the extra money Drizella had no authority to pay.
You and I could both spend a lot of time and money in court. That would just make our lawyers wealthy while my product dies instead of being on television like it could be right now.
You can pay more.
I can't pay more. I won't.
Gerhardt tries to bury her under excuses about worn molds, remodeling costs, and production problems. So Joy asks to see the molds. Gerhardt refuses. Joy then asks to use the bathroom instead, and once inside, she notices a ventilation opening barely large enough to crawl through. She climbs in and follows it into the production area, where the truth is waiting for her. Her design is already being used. The company has not just raised prices, they have claimed her invention, patented it behind her back, and started selling it without her knowledge. Before Joy can do anything, Gerhardt walks in, with the police arriving right behind him. He says he knew she would cause trouble, so he called them the moment she entered. Joy demands that the prototypes be boxed up because they belong to her, but Gerhardt calls her a trespasser. She tries to explain to the officers that the product is hers, only for Gerhardt to remind one of them that he has known him for 15 years. Joy is from out of state. Gerhardt has the local connection, and the situation escalates fast. Joy is arrested. Back home, Rudy tells her she has to pay Trudy back. They flew to California, paid Joy's bail, and spent another $10,000 on the lawyer who got her released. The court is treating it as a contract dispute, but the damage is already severe. Because Joy paid royalties to Derek Markham's company, her patents and molds were placed under his patent umbrella. The lawyer admits she was badly advised. She never should have paid those royalties. Joy turns on Trudy because it was Trudy's lawyer who told her to pay them. But rather than take accountability, Trudy just calls it business. It just did not work in Joy's favor. Tony reminds everyone that he warned them the deal looked shady from the start. Nobody wants to hear it, mostly because he is right, which is always inconvenient. The lawyer adds that Drizella's unauthorized $20,000 payment made the mess even harder to undo. Joy then brings up Neil and QVC, hoping they can help defend the patent, but Rudy warns that QVC could sue her for misrepresentation. Trudy explains that QVC only works with fully protected products, which means Joy has to cancel the deal. Then, Rudy delivers the final blow. Joy is nearly $500,000 in debt, and he asks her to declare bankruptcy. He blames himself for letting her believe she was more than an unemployed housewife, selling kitchen tools to other unemployed housewives. Trudy agrees, saying business takes a toughness Joy does not have. A notary is brought in, and Joy, broken and cornered, signs. Afterward, Christy reminds her that Mimi believed Joy was meant to carry the family to success. But Joy says Mimi was wrong.
I should have listened to my mother when I was 10 years old. I should have spent the rest of my life watching TV and hiding from the world like my mother. So I don't want to hear any more about Mimi. She was wrong, and it was full of stupid ideas, and it gave me stupid ideas.
Joy then rips up her old sketches, breaking down in front of her daughter, before apologizing and sending everyone to bed. That night, something in Joy shifts. She cuts her hair short, marking a change in mentality, then starts studying everything that beat her: patents, copyrights, business law, and contracts. If the system buried her because she did not understand it, she is going to learn every inch of it. By morning, Joy is gone. She tracks Derek Markham to a hotel room and confronts him herself. When Derek tries to intimidate her, Joy does not flinch. She has already spoken to Mr. Christopher in Hong Kong, the man supposedly receiving the royalties, and learned that he had no idea money was being collected in his name. Joy also found clear differences between her original design and the company's patent, and more importantly, her work was documented before they even claimed it. Then she lays out the numbers. Nearly $50,000 in advanced royalties were paid under Mr. Christopher's name without his knowledge.
Turns out Mr. Christopher doesn't know anything about those royalties. We have a case of fraud. As if that weren't bad enough. I also discovered in the paperwork that our mops actually don't bear any similarities. So I never did owe you any royalties for your patent. That's another case of fraud.
Derek realizes he is cornered and offers to repay the royalties, but Joy stays silent. He raises the settlement again and again until the offer includes royalties, interest, and additional compensation. Only then does Joy smile and hand him the documents she prepared. All he has to do is sign. And he does. With the legal fight behind her, Joy rebuilds everything. As she walks out of Derek's office, she has no idea she will go on to develop over 100 more patents, create a business empire, support other inventors, and keep working even after Rudy, Trudy, and Rosella later try to sue for ownership of her company. Years later, inside Joy's new company, Jackie and Tony remain her closest advisors. Joy meets a waitress from Memphis with an invention of her own, and when she learns the woman built the first prototype herself, Joy is impressed. She moves the woman and her family into a better hotel, keeps her in town to work with designers, and promises to help with her job back home. The woman breaks down with gratitude, but Joy tells her she was once in that exact place and schedules a meeting for the next day. After the woman leaves, Joy asks for the next prospect, and Jackie announces Neil's arrival. Neil walks in, calling himself an adversary in commerce, but still a friend.
Here we are.
Adversaries in commerce.
And friends.
And friends.
Neil warns Joy that Barry, the same man behind QVC, will come after her because he wants her to work with HSN. Neil says she will become very big there, then adds that she did not hear it from him. On his way out, Neil admits to Joy that it has been a long journey, and he is proud of her. After he leaves, Joy opens her drawer and looks at her old paper creations, remembering the girl she used to be, the one who dreamed of making wonderful things the whole world would see and love.